did a selection from my planets, starting with this first selection from Mercury. Mercury can only be seen at twilight, and only then if you know where to look. I was always attracted to twilight when I was a boy. Summer was a magical time. Fireflies arose from nowhere, just the noise of the city began to fade with the heat. In winter, snowflakes faded to gray before being freshened by street lamps. One twilight, the man I knew as my father took me out with a Palomar telescope he bought for my 7th birthday. The largest mirror at the base of a plastic cylinder caught the image of the planet and reflected it onto a smaller mirror, which bounced it onto the lens. So you saw only the apparition of your target as a cooling light wave. Mercury was small, but I did make it out through the telescope once. It was a quivering violin string for seconds before vanishing into the darkness. I pestered my father to find Mercury for me again, but he refused. He doubted that I had seen it at all. Mercury and Mars and even Jupiter were easier, he said. For Mercury, you had to be in the right place at the right time. My father thought himself unlucky, but I guess he saw no reason to dwell on it by pursuing Mercury night after night, until he passed it on his way to the stars. Now, the work is organic. It is a mixture of poetry and prose poems. And the way I decided on the mode for particular works was basically what was being talked about at the time. So this one is a prose work, and it is a projection of a very brief story that my biological mother told me about the relationship she nearly had with Frank Sinatra. And it's called Dancing Sinatra. I have to pinch myself. Here I am, about to knock on Frank Sinatra's door at 2 a.m. I don't know what to expect. No, I do know what to expect, but I'm still here. He's promised me the last dance in his room, the top floor in the Ritz Hotel. Will there be room for the band too, or will we hum a slow dance, cheek to cheek? I put my ear to the door and hear nothing. Is that a good sign? When I knock, a tall man opens the door. He's a bit of a greaseball, very handsome, muscle-bound, but he's not Frankie. I look around him into the dim. Come on in, miss, he says politely. The boss is expecting you. Where is the boss, I ask, wondering if this is Frankie's room at all. On his way, the man says, walking inside. My name's Reg. I'm to look after you till he gets here. And how long is that likely to be, Reg? I say, following in. As long as it takes, he says. Hungry? There's the faint smell of Italian food lingering in the air. What's that smell, I ask. Eggplant parmesan, he says. Frankie made it, especially for you. Oh, really, I say. When would he have done that? Between acts? This morning, Reg says, trying to stifle a grin. Don't know how he knew she was coming, but he did. Lots of garlic, I say, playing along. Reg rubs an imaginary bit between his thumb and forefinger. Only the smallest bit, and the tomato sauce. Frankie's a genius with parsley. I'll bet you say that to all the girls, I say. Only the ones he cooks for, he winks. Want some? I nod and sink into a chair. It smells like perfume. Fresh perfume. He was right about the Parmigiani. 2 glasses of champagne later, still no Frankie, and Reg is getting very friendly. What if Frankie comes in, I say, trying to hold him off. Something tells me, Reg murmurs, that he's been held up. But I can pass on the good word for you in the morning. By then I was so tired that Frankie or Reg hardly made any difference, and Reg didn't seem to mind the garlic on my bread. This one's called Miranda Personified, and it's from Uranus. I have to pronounce it that way. When the magic wears off, you're left with nothing but rocks and ice. South Sea islands and shipwrecks attract few moguls these days. And when you take off your clothes to lie spread-eagled in the sand, it's always some Caliban who creeps up to service you. Forget what Ariel whispered in your ear. All the passion comes before marriage. What's left to explore once every part of your body has been pierced with gold? You dream of designer drugs now. The more expensive, the better. You exploded to the core once, but learned your lesson. Have Photoshop, we'll travel. You're 300 miles across now, and counting. And this one's called spit taming. Something I did when lying in bed on humid summer evenings like we're having here. I must have been 6 or 7 when my game with spit began. I had these tartan slippers that I'd sneak into bed with me after lights out. Now they sneak in iPhones. I'd swirl a pool of spit in my mouth and let it stream carefully onto the soft black soles. The trick was to tip it just so the fluid crisscrossed the length and width of the sole without dripping it over the edge. I got good at it. I got very good at it. If spit streaming had been an Olympic sport, I'm sure I would have been up there for Ohio. It's the kind of thing you do as an only child, often. This one's dedicated to my adopted father, who died when I was 11. It's called Hosing. You can see everything but the heat in that old photo of me and my first dad. There were 5 concrete steps up to the porch where we'd sit with the scent of meat and gravy lingering on the evening air. It was a time of silence, watching the sun click down from smoky reds to purples until a night blanket stirred the crickets, while Dad arced his hose in figure eights over the lawn. Make me a rainbow, I begged. He was all I knew of magic back then. His lips would tighten as he said, rainbows couldn't be bothered with the son of a poor man unless he spoke like a gentleman. So I sang, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I've heard of. And he'd brush it in with a sweep of his wrist, and I danced in the mist he raised to find his pot of gold, but it vanished before I could bring it back. Then the fireflies began to tease me, and I'd follow him like a cub while he soaked the brick walls and concrete path till they were cool enough for me to sleep. I can't remember sweating in bed at all on those sticky nights when my father made it rain. And finally, this one's called Sugar Shacks, and it's about my adoptive parents. And I'll dedicate it to Guy because we were talking about maple syrup this morning at breakfast, and he said, "Where does maple syrup come from? The leaves?" So, listen to the poem.
Where are you, Guy?
Guy's right.
Oh, there.
This is all I remember of spring when I was young. A gray day, and my father scraping a skid of ice off the windscreen of the Oldsmobile. Inside, I scratched the glass with my fingernails to see out, and shavings of frost feather down onto my lap. My mother lights another cigarette and chides me for taking off my mittens, her words scudding in white puffs that sting my eyes. You'll catch your death, she says, and I imagine the sting of it like a baseball you snare with your bare hands. My father clambers inside and the sun comes out. Our wheels spin but then take hold in the glistening thaw. How many miles will it be to the sugar shack? I ask him. Don't be so impatient, says my mother, or we'll turn back. But my father makes up a song through the slushy city and then the sleepy farms until we see the maple trees along the Chardon. Skeins of steam drift over us and I can smell boiling sap from the log cabins down the path. Those are sugar shacks, my father says, and this is how you taste them. He scoops up a fistful of snow, pats it into a ball and hands it to me. In the first cabin, the man in the lumberjack shirt is stoking the fire under a trough of dark liquid. He takes the snowball and dips it in hot syrup then shows us how to gently tap a tree for sap. Doesn't it hurt when the trunk bleeds, I ask? Only when we do it without respect, he says. My father died late that autumn. He'd masked the illness from me, or my mother must have known as he joked about his chalky skin. He'd never read about how rain can burn the soil, scarring roots, nor green leaves go brittle in the dry, hot summer, while the sap pulse slows. A world away, I wonder if a man still tends those coals, waiting for the first taste of blame to bubble into the thickening syrup, or has his sooty